Okay, let's see. Which poem? Oh, crap. I'm in my rehearsal studio, which is also my painting studio. This is where I'm going to be reading these poems from. Okay, this one is Water Tower. A crow flies by me, then quickly skydives to the ground. But instead of grabbing food or one of the many lizards that scamper past my feet, he picks up a shiny piece of tinfoil and flies away. In front of me, there's a dirt road that goes up into the sky. Yellow burnt grass on the hill surrounds me as I notice telephone poles reluctantly disappearing into the ground. I smell the scent of dead trees as I watch 4 deer slowly turn their heads to stare at me. LA Fire lands on the helipad, but they don't see me. They're too busy with their touch and goes. I'm stuck at the base of a water tower, chained to my unexpected fate. No one hears me. Don't ask me to explain how I got here. It's too embarrassing to ever explain. I welcome my end. The droning screams of an outdated power plant struggle to stay on. No one has drove by me in days. Mr. Inferno. They followed me, even when I stopped and took a different path. He demanded my pursuit. They gave up. He continued. They joked and found desolation inside my joyful heart, laughing as they walked away. Tightly wrapped, slowly strangled in odd timing, the devil pretends to knock on my door, then runs away when I go to answer it. I know this for a fact because I see him in the distance holding up a crucifix and screaming at me, dancing about and carrying on like some damn fool. I wave him off because I have no time for his predictable tantrums. I am annoyed at his uncanny ability to wedge himself behind my closet door and wait for me to go to sleep. He wants to whisper darkness. He wants to whisper darkness in my ear. Oh, silly, silly Mr. Inferno. Sadly, I will have to disappoint you. There's nothing in the dark I fear. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. How'd I get down there on the floor? What's in the purple wooden box? I closed you in an old wooden box with locks and chains and no way out. I might let you go if there was a good reason to do so, but the pain you caused this mortal world has no punishment suited to its crime. So remain here for eternity in the belly of this purple wooden box. If you sing, the griffin will push you under the ocean rocks. I will never let the world know about the thing that sings from the purple wooden box. He made me a deal. Yellowed newspapers covered the floor. I remember that morning in 1901 when the sun eagerly spilled through the corner windows into our house. Remember, we started painting that room 100 years ago? You had just finished serving us scrambled eggs, and I wetted a rag from the well water to wash my hands. We were going to pick strawberries that day. Your soft hair and scented soap was a comfort, washing away any of the day's petty grievances. There was a loud pop. I heard you scream. I froze with disbelief. And while running to you, I stubbed my toe on the latest addition to your music box collection. You kissed me for love, and I tasted blood on your lips. I felt hollow. You whispered for help. It was terrifying. I could feel hundreds of bony fingers pulling you down deep toward the abyss, but death intervened and lowered you to the floor. I threatened the Reaper. I demanded his resignation and your immediate return. He made me a deal. He came back for me 3 days later. All right, let's see. Got a nice poem. Where's my pen at? Okay, right there. Pestilent Windfolk. They came as tempered and lonely winds, frequently taking on the shape of madmen, pondering and lamenting the romantic overtones of their illustrious japery. Deflowering themselves only to walk among mortal men incarnate, they've come with baskets filled with nothing, pretending to picnic and mourn some poor bastard's corpse as his funeral only now just ended. But what quickens the blood only immortalizes the wind flesh beings. They come to corrupt the hearts of saints, fueled by other world complaints. They light no candles and extinguish all the hopes that flicker. No one sees them, but all know they're there. You can hear them laughing and playing a deadly game of hide and seek. Devils appear just to get a peek, while the wind beasts wait to find those unfortunate few who will never make it back to taste the morning dew. Okay, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna make some tea. All right, this one is Porcelain Prince and the Mermaid. Okay. The seamen took an enchanted liking to the creature. They licked and bit at her breast. As bastards, they played with her long silver hair in jest. Her delightful pale body would entice any mortal or immortal thrice. The half of her that belonged to the sea would not sway these cutthroats from trying to force themselves on top of her. I awoke to all the commotion, finding myself amazed at the living myth before me and outraged at the perversion that was being attempted. I was in uncontrollable rage as her sister sirens beckoned me. I knew what horror I must surely do. With the speed of no time and space, my fangs pierced the seaman's neck, and rich coward blood engulfed his face. Like a serpent, I wrapped my arms around him, instantly crushing his bones. Now he dangled in my embrace, lifeless like a child's doll. The ship's crew watched in awe as I catapulted his body into the sea. The fish maiden was wide-eyed and watching me, but reluctant to approach me. What knowledge this creature must possess, the loud slapping of her aquatic tail hitting the ship's deck entranced my thoughts so. I instantly fell in love with her. She used these movements and torso to embrace me. She liked snuggling with dead things. She drew blood, then with sadness and joy plunged herself deep into the sea. I stood in darkness, but could see the light. She started to sing and was nowhere. I watched the moonlight tickle the sea, then my fiendish kindred whispered to me. Wiping my tears of blood at last, sea fairies came by the hundreds past. Darting in and out of the magnetic sea, they've come to comfort me. I took her as my mermaid bride. With my kiss, she'll never die. That teapot's getting pretty loud. Rose-scented hair. I woke up with you next to me. There was still the time for your lust to bloom into love. I sat on a windowsill waiting for your touch. My toes clawed the concrete edge, but there was no reason for me to descend. My wings nervously fluttered as you gently curled and played with my rose-scented hair. You begged me to reveal my name, but I could not. Red tears fell from my blue eyes, and I turned away so that you wouldn't see my pain. Quietly, I took the Bible off your dresser when you weren't looking. I began to sing loud as I ripped out most of the pages of the Bible. I just couldn't let you read all those lies about me. Okay, my tea water's is hot, so I'll make my tea, blueberry pomegranate, and there we go, get in there and get that nice. Okay, the next poem is, well, it says, Tapping the Top of Her Coffin. At first, with no caring thought, I twitched in the cold, dead air, desperate not to care. I couldn't help myself. I started tapping the top of her coffin. My long, dark, painted fingernails playfully danced about the wooden top that covered her mortal muse. I rested near a cold crypt, wicked and confused. I said my goodbyes and then found myself trapped deep inside her soiled embrace. I knew I had to free her body from the death box. Then I dug my way up, and out of the earth before my wings became too weak to free us. I smelled the air after we escaped from my mother's flesh. The scent of death was sweet, oh, so sweet. My heart was filled with love, everlasting, or perhaps just a fool of immortal wishes. We danced our one and only dance, then she fled. I flew to the other side of the graveyard in hopes of stopping her from realizing she was dead. But I was too late, and her body decayed to dust instantly, and my love was gone. I brushed her death dust from my face and wings. Tears dropped from my eyes as blue fire softly burned beneath my feet, and with the graveyard engulfed in fog, I was able to hide my anxious retreat. I had no choice. They would come for me, so I disappeared. Somewhere they couldn't find me. Somewhere I could ponder the rescue of another lover. Wearing his best, the devil rode through Gallup. Wearing his best, the devil rode through Gallup, stopping briefly along a dusty wash. Biting into a cactus, he smiled at those souls lost. Picking his nose, he laid on the desert sand to sleep. But it wasn't long before sidewinders and rattlesnakes started to creep. Carbon City, the devil has come to find the paymaster. But he'll wait for the Santa Fe and stay until the Spanish conquistadors find their 7 cities of gold. A Navajo child grows old, and wearing his very best, the devil rode through Gallup. Okay, darkly untitled to protect the cave child. Terrified and confused, her goat half trembled. She made her way toward him. I'm afraid, Father. On your blackened hooves I count the highlights that dance and take on the forms of angels. What is this? Witchery? They shine like black glass. Then she quietly covered her doe-like horns on top of her head and then asked, "The men in white collars beyond the valley say that you're evil, that I am damned. They saw my horns. Who are we?" A darkly cloaked figure moved his face quickly into the light of the moon. He then put out his hand and said, "Come here, child, they are fools." With a warmth of gesture, he handed her a chunk of slaughtered meat, greedily covered in blueberries, which was her favorite treat. He comforted her with the steadfast certainty that shook the forest floor, and again he spoke to her. "Don't listen to their lies. We're legends, sweetie. We'll be roaming these caves for centuries long after they have departed this world. We're not evil, we just are, like a star in the sky, like a mountain above a valley, like a storm in the distance. We will always be." She bowed her head. Black were the eyes of the damned child, and loneliness her fear. She licked her lips and nodded relief in response. With her meal now finished, she asked, "Father, will I ever be able to run and play with angels?" "Sweet child, when the sun burns out, they will come for us. Until then, the world is ours." Man, did I put enough cream in that?